You recruit almost exclusively data people, correct?
Well, not anymore now.
Not
So
anymore.
I used to do it, of course, here, but now it's also cloud, software development, security, and I hope I'm not forgetting anyone. So if I do, I'm sorry.
I'm curious, from somebody that has interviewed potentially thousands of data people,
Yeah.
how is it different to recruit data people than it is different to recruit other types of professionals?
I think so. If we let's first cover what you mean with different kinds of professionals, right? So because for me, like data people, if it's like really tech, if I can group it like that, then software development and security, that's kind of similar, right?
No.
If it's different professionals, as in maybe someone who does like a business unit manager or office management or something like that, then there's a huge difference there. So if you look at the tech people, the things that I noticed that worked really well was really zooming in on the scope of project that we were doing, and the complexity of it, and then also like the people that you're going to be working with. So I think everybody wants to be surrounded by people that they can learn a ton from, right? So giving a lot of examples there in. So here we have Juan, who's a writer. He has actually published a book, and we have Bram, who actually worked on the James Webb Telescope. Well, no, sorry, the James Webb Telescope. And Rogier, who actually worked at CERN, at the Large Hadron Collider. And it's like those types of stories that really energizes a lot of those tech people, because they want to be with people who are like the forefront of technology. And I think with other types of roles, like other professionals, it's not really as much of a thing, right? Because you don't have like an office manager who is also a published author or is an Apache open source committer or something like that.
Yeah.
So that's a little bit different. I think there it's more about the purpose within the company, like how you can actually contribute to a bigger picture other than you sit at a desk and you write emails or you take calls. It's more about translating a different sense of purpose and how you're helping other people out.
For me, what I've noticed when I talk to my friends that don't work in data or find people that don't work in a technical field, what I notice is it's very easy for us to prove our value to a new company. It's just like, check my GitHub, check my tutorials, check this article, my conference talks, whatever it is. Or even give me a programming problem and I can solve it in front of you.
Yeah.
So that really changes the whole process, because they are not often trying to find out, like, they very quickly realize if you know or you don't. And it's more like, can I work with you? Can I teach you this? Can I, so on.
Yeah. Yeah. I think when we are hiring for other roles in the past at Exebia, that's also something that I encountered, right? Because normally we had like a first interview, technical, and an assessment. How do you do that for somebody who is going to be a manager, for example? But you still do have some things, right? So I was very lucky here to have some great mentorship from like Reynold or Giovanni, who also have some great insights on those types of topics. Where we started thinking about, okay, so we want somebody who is actually a really good networker, and then we start thinking about, okay, so how do we actually question if somebody is a good networker and what types of answers are we looking for there? So you can still quantify it a little bit on is somebody going to be good for this role or not, but still a lot more fluid, I would say, than tech roles, right? Because I think even in tech roles, there's also not like a hard yes or no answer, or like this is only this answer is true, because I think there's still going to be multiple ways to solve a problem. But with those types of roles, it's going to be more complex in that sense.
Yeah, of course. Also, it's a lot harder to put your personal bias away when you're talking about, like, is somebody a good communicator or not?
Oh, yeah.
Versus a good coder, well, it's a lot
so that's
easier.
A funny one, like a good communicator. If good communication or being a good communicator is a metric for you in whether or not to hire a person, and let's say you have 4 people that are going to be in the interviewing process, and if I ask each of those persons what are you looking for in terms of like a good communicator, then I'm probably going to get 4 different answers. So one of the other things that we did as well is really look at, okay, so what's going to be the business definition for the things we are looking for? So again, the example of networker, what are you actually looking for? Or if you put the value for people first, like it's very important for this manager to put people first. Okay, so if we ask on that, what do we mean? Like, and again, we don't need 4 different answers. We need one business definition and then like some elements of good answers. And if the person actually gives answers that are akin to what we are looking for, then we should all agree that that's what we're looking for.
And for example, how do you operationalize being a good networker?
Yeah, it's a tough one. I think if somebody talks about how they are a networker and how they maintain their network, that should give you some sense of are they a good networker. If they can give some examples of opportunities that they've had in the past where they used their network, stuff like that, like how do they keep in touch with people. And I don't know exactly what we wrote down back then for the whole networking thing. I think we also asked them like if we needed to do a project in this area, who would you contact? Are there any opportunities that you might have an in on?
Yeah, it's quite tricky. I think, to be honest, like, because this is something that I really like doing and I ask a lot of data people, most of them will tell me, oh, I hate networking. And then like that's a really big chunk. Some people say like, yeah, I like it, but I don't know how to do it or something. But then I also know people that they say like, oh yeah, I have meetings with very important C-level people almost on a monthly basis to discuss about data. And that's like, yeah, that's like 3 levels above of networking. But even then it's like a very small amount of people that only said like, yeah, I like networking. And the ones that have a network that is like super valuable is like much less.
Yeah.
That's an interesting one.